Hello everyone, my name is Christina. It's been a long time since I've posted a video on YouTube. I'm a little awkward on the camera now. So I just wanted to talk to you about my journey to getting my CJO and the flight attendant interview and some tips and tricks to help you pass your interview or to kind of know what the process was like. I have my little coffee here that I'm gonna be drinking. I just want to start with my journey there. So I applied for the airline and then I had to do an assessment, and I thought it was gonna be a week or 2 weeks till they got back to me. They reached out to me in about 3 to 5 days after I had already applied. I got invited to do a video interview. So at the video interview, there's gonna be about like 20 to 30 people, and we all started by introducing ourselves and saying if we can go anywhere in the world, where would we go and why? And I said Colombia because I used to work in immigration and we had a lot of Colombian people and I would love to see the culture and help volunteer out there. Everyone answered the question, and then after that they went through and asked each person an individual question. Now the questions didn't repeat, every single person got their own question. I got asked something about how would you use internet or social media in work or something like that. I don't really remember, but I studied, I knew everything about the airline. I had a tell me about yourself question ready. I had all of that ready, and no one really got asked that type of question. A person did get asked, why do you want to be a flight attendant, or what qualities do you think is required to be a flight attendant? I think that was one of the questions. That's what I got asked, and I thought that I completely bombed my answer. I did the work teamwork into my questions, so I think that's what kind of got me the interview. Also, I wore a bright red lip. I had all my hair back. I had a white shirt and a blue blazer because I was trying to, you want to look professional. You don't want to be moving around too much. You kind of don't want a background like this. You want a completely plain background when you're in your video interview. I answered my question, and the whole time I was like this, smiling. When you do your video or any flight attendant interview, you just want to smile the whole time. And that red lip, hair pulled back. Then a whole week goes by and they invited me to an in-person interview. And I was like, oh my God, I thought I bombed this interview. Get ready, I'm watching all these videos. So the day finally comes. They offer either you want to fly in the day of the interview, which you would have to go in super early because usually the interviews start between 9 and 12. I've heard of all different times. Mine started at 9 a.m. And then, so they flew me in the night before. I had to pay for my hotel. If you have your face-to-face coming up, usually my airline didn't pay for the hotel, so make sure you know whether or not they pay for it. I flew in the night before, and on my way to the airport, I scheduled my Uber for 1 so I can get to the airport by 1:20, 1:30. My Uber didn't get there till almost 1:30, and by the time I got to the airport, it was already 2:03. My flight was scheduled to leave at 3. So thought I was gonna be late. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna miss my flight. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna miss my interview. I'm gonna have to drive to Dallas. And then I made it on time, thank God. And as I'm boarding my aircraft, I talked to the flight attendant and I'm like, hi, I'm on my way to my face-to-face. And she said, oh my God, give me a hug. So she just hugged me and she was like, stand up there with me. So stand up here with me. And so I stood up there and she was just asking me, she's like, okay, what do you do? What's your name? And she was asking me all these questions about myself, and I was telling her, I was like, oh, I was in the military, blah, blah, blah. She was like, oh my God, they're gonna love you. They're gonna love you. You're so personable. The way you just came up to me and talked to me, they're gonna love you. And she was just giving me tips and stuff. There was another flight attendant there and she was more quiet and reserved, and she was like, your nails are a nice color. And I was like, oh my God, this girl hates me. And she's just like, okay, well, and she told me one question because she was like, for sure have an answer to this question. And I was like, there's gonna be so many people there, how are they, what if they don't even ask me that question? What if they ask me a different question? But I listened to her and I wrote my little answer down so I can kind of have something ready. and standing up there talking to them. I flew from Austin to Dallas, so it was like a 30-minute flight. Once I got there, I went to my hotel. I went to Target and I went and bought a charger, and I came home. Mind you, I'm Ubering, paying for my Uber. And I come home and I open my charger box because I left my charger at home. I had to buy one. There was nothing in there, so I had to take another Uber to go to Target and get a charger that they freaking, I guess it was stolen out. So I was so annoyed by that. I steamed all my clothes, made sure there was no wrinkles in my clothes. I went to bed. In the morning when I got ready, I had a white shirt. I didn't have any cleavage showing, so it was like about up to here. It was kind of like a crew neck, a blue jacket, and these black pants with stripes. I'll try to put in a picture if not. They tell you that there's a shuttle that comes and picks you up and takes you to the interview from the airport. So I got to the airport at 7:15. The shuttle did not come, and I waited till 8, and I called twice, and by the time I called the second time, I was like, the shuttle hasn't come, blah blah blah. I'm like, am I gonna have to get an Uber? I sent the shuttle, and I thought I was gonna be late. Time to check in was 8:45. I think I got there at 8:20. So that's another thing that happened. I was like, oh my god, like I just did all of this for nothing. The morning of, when you go to your face-to-face interview, make sure you tip your shuttle driver, because people are going to be watching, and if there's people in the bus with you that are on their way to their interview, or even at your hotel, or you see at the airport, talk to them. Say, hey, are you on your way, blah blah blah. You're there with these people to work with them as a team. It is not a competition. Get to know them, make friends. Once I get there, I'm checking in, and I'm just like, hi, and this girl's like, I saw you at the airport, blah blah blah. I was like, oh my gosh, we should have talked. I just was trying to talk to as many people as I could. I was like, hi, so and so, what's your name, where are you from? And like, I was complimenting people. Of course, I had my red lip. I was just smiling the whole time. The recruiters greet you as soon as you walk in, and we're checking in with these other 2 flight attendants, and they see my earring, and they have me read this paper, and it says, no piercings, tattoos showing in uniform. So I was like, shit. And I tried taking it off at the hotel, but the little ball that was connected didn't want to come off. So I was like, oh my fucking god, I can't take this off. So I go to the bathroom, and finally it comes off. So I had to take this little thing off. That's why I haven't put the ball back on it yet. I'm so glad they didn't send me home for that. They gave me a chance. The whole time I'm just smiling. I'm like, oh my god, my face hurts. Right. So the documents that are necessary are going to be your resume, your passport, and your COVID vaccine. I also brought my high school diploma and my social security card. They did not end up needing it. But better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And all of us were talking in the hallway, and then one of the flight attendants, one of like the recruiters, is like basically telling us to shut up because we're really loud and we're in the IT building. And he was like, yeah, the people here in this building are just a little different than us flight attendants. Like, we're more gregarious and they're just more quiet and more reserved. You know, they're doing their techie thing, and we're like, oh shit, like we just got in trouble. And but we couldn't help it. Like, we were all trying to be friends, so we quiet down. Once everyone's kind of done checking in, they take us to another building. Now, when you're at these interviews, you can wear heels, but you are walking and moving around pretty much all day. You were getting your steps in. I was in these chunky heels, but I was wearing socks, so my feet were really tight, so my feet were hurting. Another thing I didn't know is you bring all your luggage with you. If you stay overnight, you bring all your luggage with you to the interview. They have a place for you to put it. So they walked us to this other room, and on our way in, we had little name tags, and they had a number on them. And so they were like, there was like 4 or 5 different recruiters. So every time I talk about one, it's a new one. Recruiter was like, oh, y'all have numbers on your name tag. So whenever you sit at your table, you're gonna find the table with your number on it. And he was like, does anyone know what these mean? And I answered the question, I'm not gonna tell you just in case you have to go. But he was like, yes, Christina, that's right, all the points go to you, blah blah blah. So I made myself kind of stand out in a positive way, because no one else knew the answer to this. And I was like, yes. And he walked us in and we sat at our table. There was a piece of paper on there for us to answer a question. So you have to read it. And then after that, everyone was just talking and getting to know each other. And I'm telling you, the recruiters in this room, they are watching you. I heard them like saying, oh, like I heard them whispering and pointing at people and looking at, they'd be like that, like looking at you. Like everyone is watching you throughout the entire building, the way you're walking, talking, interacting with people. Compliment people, ask people where they're from, ask them what they do for work, ask them their experience. They tell us is, we know you've probably been looking at the green glass store, but we do things differently every single time. We're gonna switch it up on you, so we don't want you to know what you're supposed to expect here. And so I'm like, great, everything that I studied, everything that I would had ready is not even gonna happen today, which was a good thing. And they know that you're looking for these questions. Yes, look up the interview questions and have your scenarios ready to go, but they know that you want to know this process, so they're going to change it up. Just know that you're going to be at a group with people, you're going to be at a table with people, and you're going to work together, and you're going to have to get to know each other. Those are like the main things. My interview class was, we had to a piece of paper, and we had to write down 3 things we all had in common, and then we had to write down fun facts about, one fun fact about each person. So when we went up and presented, everyone had to guess which fact belonged to whom. So they do something different every single time. Okay, just be sure, you have a tell me about yourself question, or you have a fun fact question ready about yourself. So that was really cool. It was great because they made it to where you're not even scared or nervous or comfortable. They just make you get comfortable so quickly. After that, the recruiters came by, and 2 recruiters came by each table, but they came by one at a time. One recruiter came by, asked everyone one question. We took a break. Another recruiter came by and asked everyone a different question. So remember I said earlier about the flight attendant, she said have this answer ready. Out of all the questions, out of the 8 people at my table, I get asked this one question the flight attendant tells me to have ready, and it's tell me about a time you received constructive criticism or developmental criticism as part of your job by a supervisor, something like that. That was the exact question she gave me, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so glad I had this ready. This was fate. This was meant to happen for me. I answered the question at the break. Then the next recruiter came by, and my second question was, tell me about a time you experienced something demanding in the workplace, or something along those lines. And I answered the question, and I kind of felt as if I did not do that great with that question. So we took another break. Everyone leaves. The recruiters kind of go, and then we get a presentation about company and how benefits, pay, the bases, all of that stuff. The recruiters are gone, and I'm guessing they're discussing our answers and stuff, they're out having a huddle. We take another break. The recruiters come back, and they're like, all right, if I call your name, grab all your stuff and come with me. So they called, I think, a total of 3 groups of people, and the rest of us are kind of sitting there waiting. We're just like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Where are the other people going? What's happening? That they were like, the rest of you come with us, you can leave all your stuff here. They put us in order, in the order of our flight, the way our flight was going to be leaving, so the earliest to the latest. And we are walking through the building, and we go through and we do the reach test to reach I don't know, it was this fire hydrant thing that you have to unclip to make sure you can reach, and then the jump seat test, so they have you sit on the jump seat and tighten it. And then I was like, oh my gosh. So I was like, did we make it? Oh my god. Then we go back to the room, and on our way in, one of the recruiters was like, stay hydrated. He didn't wink, but he was like, stay hydrated. And I was like, oh my gosh, this means we're probably about to do our drug test. Sitting there waiting, not even 2 minutes goes by after returning. different recruiters come in and call us in individually. I get called in first or second, and they tell me to bring all my stuff with me. And I come in and sit down with this lady, and she's like, she tells me about herself, and then I tell her about myself. And she's like, so I got asked, why do you want to be a flight attendant? Like, why now after all these years? And then I got asked, what do you think some of the challenges of this job are? And those are questions you kind of want to have ready, as well as a good tell me about yourself. You know, you don't want to talk about having long walks on the beach. You want to talk about your experience. She was like, oh, well, do you want to be a flight attendant for so-and-so company? And I was like, oh my God, yes. Like, I could not believe that it was just a dream come true. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, I think since I was 20 years old. Finally got my opportunity. We went through, we got our drug test, and then we got like fingerprint scans and all that, and then that part went by pretty quick. I was kind of sad because some of the other people that I was there with, I think they did a really good job, but they did not make it as far. I'm pretty sure they got sent home because there was only like one group that stayed behind. I wanted to like get my peers' social media and stuff and like their phone numbers so we can, you know, be on this journey together, but it happened so fast you don't really even get to say goodbye to anyone, especially since I was the first person. There was a few people I seen on my way out, so it's just like, oh, goodbye, congratulations. I will say some tips. Red lip, make sure your hair is done up. There was some people that looked like they put no effort into their hair. It was just kind of like in frizzy, messy ponytails. Make sure you wear makeup, even if it's just like an eyeshadow and a lip. Wear makeup. As far as the hair, there was a few girls there that they had their hair completely down and they were able to they got their CJO. So I don't want to say that the hair doesn't matter whether it's up or not, but make sure it's styled very, very nicely. Make sure you have your questions ready. Tell me about yourself. Why do you want to be a flight attendant? And everything, I just want to say everything that I had rehearsed went out the door in that very moment where I got asked those questions one-to-one. Everything was just so genuine from a place in my heart. You know, you don't want to sound like a robot. I got my CJO with a very awesome company. Now I'm just waiting for my paperwork to be processed. So I'll probably try to post on YouTube my journey and my experience and my TikToks and stuff. So I'm very, very excited, and I watched a lot of videos like this. So if you have any questions, please feel free to message me on here or on Instagram, preferably on Instagram because I probably don't check these notifications that much. But yeah, that was my journey, and I'm so glad to be here. I'm just waiting to get my training date and stuff. So yeah, like I said, message me if you have any questions. Thank you for watching, and I'll post when I get an update.